And speaking of watering, these plants have a unique capability of dispensing any excess water. And as you look at the back of some of these leaves, hi, I'm Kim from the Tye-Dyed Iguana plant team, and today we're going to talk about another one of our more unique plants. Lately we've been getting some plants in that we just haven't had in a while, and this is one that fits into that category. It's got these what looks like little buds on them, but they're not. They're actually little fruits. They're actually little figs. This is a mistletoe fig. Has nothing to do with the mistletoe family. It's actually a ficus. Its Latin name is one of those that I can pronounce. It's a ficus deltoidea. Consequently, it just has some of the same care that we have for ficus. And the deltoidea, delta meaning triangle, has a little bit to do with some of the shapes of the leaves here. They have a tendency to be a little bit triangular shaped, but it's really a unique plant native to Southeast Asia, and we do happen to have a few of them in the store this week. From a watering perspective, they don't like lots of water. We're probably talking once a week, and a lot of that depends on light, which I'll get to you in just a second. So keep them watered. Just go ahead and check the top of the soil, and probably once a week is going to be just okay. And speaking of watering, these plants have a unique capability of dispensing any excess water. And as you look at the back of some of these leaves, you'll see little black dots. Not that that's any kind of insect infestation, and that gives the leaves and the plant an opportunity to just go ahead and push out any excess moisture that might be gathered in the leaves. The leaves look a little bit like a succulent, but again, it's in the ficus family, so that little pore that's on the back of these leaves is unique to this plant, and it will help with your watering perspective. In terms of soil, we like to keep these in airy, well-drained soil. And again, as we've seen in the past, if you take your good organic soil and you add a little bit of perlite, that will help keeping it well-drained. And in this case, it really likes to have little bits of bark. So if you can get a handful or so of bark, maybe 50% mixture where you're going to have 50% is your regular potting soil, and then the remaining 50% is going to be some perlite, it's going to be some bark, and maybe a little bit of peat moss in there, just to make sure that you keep it well drained. From a lighting perspective, as I explained earlier, it really likes to have bright indirect light, and this is one that does okay in the south-facing windows. Usually south-facing windows are a little bit too warm, but this particular plant will do well when it's facing in the south. It also does okay in the shade. Now, it's not going to want a lot of shade, but it'll do okay in shade. And if it gets too much shade, you're going to start to see the leaves perhaps turn a little bit yellow. That means you're going to need to move it where it's going to get a little bit more light. From a temperature perspective, likes warmth. Like I said, it's native to Southeast Asia, so we're talking in that 65 to 85 degree range. Although it will do okay if it gets a little bit cooler. It loves being outdoors, and as we move into those spring and summer months, this will do well in the outside area. But if you get into those September, early October timeframes where the temperatures are going to get into the low 50s, upper 40s, then it's certainly time to bring it back inside. So temperature 65 to 85. Humidity, average humidity, 50 to 70%. It does like to be misted, but it doesn't like to have wet feet, so just be careful with that. We call it the mistletoe. You know, it has these little buds in here, or these little fruits, which are actually figs, which have a tendency to turn red, which I think is where that mistletoe probably came from. These are not edible. So whether you're thinking about it around this is a toxic plant. So think about that in terms of your placement, whether it's in a habitat or if you have it around any of your pets or any of your cats. In its natural environment, it is an epiphyte, and we've talked about that before, where certain things like Spanish moss and airplanes will actually hook onto other plants and grow. In its natural environment, it will do that, but obviously unless you're going to have some kind of unique experiment that you're working with, it's best to keep it as a potted plant. It will do well with that. It's a little hard to see here, but this plant also is bonsai friendly. There are a lot of folks that think of evergreens, junipers as an example, as a bonsai, but on these you can start to clip off any of your shoots that are going up high and start to let it branch out a little bit. And then typically a bonsai will be in more of a longer rectangular pot with a little bit less soil. You can go ahead and transplant into that. If you're going to go down that road, as you clip off any of these larger stems here, just go ahead and from a propagation perspective, you can just go ahead and clip those and put them in some water, and given probably 4 to 6 weeks, you'll start to see the little rootlets come out of there, and you'll be able to propagate this quite well. It is easy on the propagation side of the house. It's not a very difficult plant to work with. The only problem we have with this plant is getting them. They're just not that common. So if you're looking for something unique that's going to grow well in your environment, it's going to have these neat little fruits on it, the neat little figs, and as I said, on the back side of the leaves, you're going to see those triangular spots in there that help keep some of the excess water out. Your mistletoe fig will do great for you. It is our plant of the week at Tye-Dyed Iguana.